Okay, so once again, let's go ahead and continue here with Python. Uh, First, always define the main method. So we're going to say def main, and we need a set of parentheses after the word main and then the colon. If you don't have it exactly like this, when you press enter, like I did, it won't automatically indent for you. Notice how right now it's waiting for me to type something else and it's indented. And it automatically indents because I used the word def. I gave the method, the function or the method, a name. I called it main. I needed the set of parentheses and then the colon at the afterwards. Now, just for the sake of having something in the main method, I'm just going to put a print statement. Print hi. Notice when we print, if we're printing a phrase, a sentence, a word, um, we call that a string, and it's always within double quotes. And so that's what it looks like. Now at this point, go to File, and we want to make sure we save this. So save as. Once you have your AP Computer Science Principles folder up and running, make sure that you create a new folder within called Fundamentals, and we're going to save this as just input. The type is a Python file. This should automatically say Python, and we're going to save. We're going to say I replaced it because I had already saved it. Now, at this point, if I run my code, although I've coded something, there is no print to the screen. Yes, I have the print hi, but the reason for that is because when you define a function like we did here, you just tell Python, hey, here's a function. This function called main, it's going to print hi. But we never executed the function. And so when you create a function, you need to execute the function if you want to print or if you want to carry out the commands within the function. So notice how I am now in line 6 and I went back a space so that I'm not indented. That means that the code that I'm about to write is not in the main function. And right here, I'm going to place a comment and I'm going to say that I want to execute the main function. And we do that by basically just writing out the name of the function main and then a set of parentheses. Again, there in this location, I don't place a colon. And if I run this, now it prints hi right here on the screen, which is perfect. Now, we are told that we're evaluating the file input.py, py short for Python, which is a file that we are in right now. Now, what I want us to get in the habit as we're coding and coding is to have our code always in the main function. And how do I ensure that it is in the main function? We'll make sure that it is indented. Now, what I want to go over in this video is I want to go over the command that allows the user to enter something. So we know that print prints to the screen. Well, there's another command called input. Notice how it changes color. It's all lowercase. And when I use input, and maybe I type a string here that says how or enter your name, and I run this, so I'll save, Control S will save. Now what happens is that it prints enter your name just like a print statement would, but now it is waiting for me to enter something. Notice how the blinking cursor here is waiting. I don't have the set of 3 arrows. You get those 3 arrows once your program terminates. And so right here I would put something like Octavio and then enter. And now that I get the 3 arrows, my program has terminated. Now, I could have placed the space there before I put the name Octavio, but then when I enter it, it's going to store that. So let me explain a little further here. I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna allow the user to input something, and I want to store that in a variable. And so I would say x equals. X is a variable. It equals. Oh, I accidentally moved that. X equals whatever the user inputs when I ask the user to enter a name. And so if I run this and I put Octavio, well, nothing happened. But if I then come in here and I do print whatever X is, and I put Alex, notice how it prints Alex, because X is equal to Alex, which is what the user input. Now, if I put, let me run this one more time. If I put space and then Alex, notice how when it prints now, it includes that space. X equals space and then Alex. And so what I want to do here is to put a space between name and whatever the user, which is in this case myself, the user is the person using your program. In order to put a space between name and Alex, I am actually going to put it right here inside of the string. I'm going to put a space there. And then I'm going to take it a step further and say, I don't want to name the variable X because it doesn't carry a whole lot of meaning. Instead, I'm going to give the variable a name that is associated with what you're asking the person to enter. What are you asking the person to enter? Their name. And so I'm going to call the variable name. And I'm going to print name. Let me put a space here just for clarity. Again, we have this main function. The main function is going to carry out these 2 lines of code when you execute it. And when do I execute it? I execute it down here on line 10. And so if I run this, notice how there's a space now. And I put Nicolas, which is my second orange name. It just prints Nicolas, right? Now you can then ask quite a few things. We can say, how old are you? So we can say age is equal to input. And then how old are you with a question mark. I'll put a space there as well. And we can print blank, print name, followed by, we place a comma, the string is, and then I'll terminate my string by putting another set of quotes, comma, age, and then comma, and then I'll put another string that says years old. And so notice what's going to happen here. Whatever name is, whatever the user enters, that's going to print. So say the user enters Alex. Alex is, and say the user enters 15 years old. And so right here, we're saying print whatever the variable name is, and then print the string is, print the variable age, and then print the string years old. And if I run this now, and it says enter your name. Okay, we'll go with Clarissa. How old are you? 33. And it prints Clarissa's 33 years old. Notice here the space. It looks like there's an extra space here. I do believe that when you put the comma here, it automatically is going to put a space between whatever name is and is. So let me actually delete this. Also delete this, and let me try it now. I'm going to save it and run it. Okay, what is your name? Oscar. How old are you? 28. And it says Oscar is 28 years old. Now, biggest takeaway from this video is that whenever you're using the input function, make sure that whatever the user inputs is stored in a variable. So precede, right in front of input, put a variable, in this case name, and then equals. Age, and then equals when you're using the input function. We can do one more, something like grade, input. We want the user to input their grade, so you would ask, what grade are you in? I don't need the semicolons. I accidentally put semicolons here. So you don't need them, okay? I code in Java, and in Java you would need them. just the key difference between Java and Python. Okay, so now we have a third variable called the grade, and we can say Alex is, or Oscar is 28 years old and is in grade, and we place a comma, and then we print the variable grade. And so we come in here, we say enter your name. Okay, I'm going to do Emiliano. That's my firstborn. How old are you? I'm going to make up a grade, age for the purposes of this assignment, 15. And then what grade are you in? If you're 15, I think you're what, in 10th grade? And so it prints Emiliano is 15 years old, is in grade 10. So just a quick short video on how to allow for user input. How do you let the person that is running your program, which often is going to be you, okay? But maybe not. Maybe you let someone else, you make a game, you build a game and you let someone else play it, then they are the user. How do you let the user interact with your code? And we do it, one of the ways we can do that is using this input function. Alrighty, that's all.